All right, so today is the last day of doing the Barney Kessel chord melody stuff. We're going to finish it off with a Kessel-style arrangement of Cry Me a River, a Julie London tune that he had some pretty famous accompaniment on. So we're going to kind of take it through a similar intro he did, and then just work through the tune. I posted a video of me playing kind of my arrangement of what I'm going to walk y'all through today earlier, so check that out to get the whole kind of bird's eye view of it. I'm going to organize this by going section by section, so the song's a standard A-A-B-A. So I'll play through the A once, and then talk about the A, then do B, then A. And then there's a little outro. Additionally to that, I wanted to talk about what I'm starting next week is a series on Roy Lanham's playing. So this is going to focus a lot on those kind of steel guitar-esque / jazz chord voicings he would use a lot in his solos. So we'll get a little more into the solo playing of things and talk about how we can weave those into our own. To me, he was always like a great mix of a Barney Kessel, a Chet Atkins, and the steel guitarist, and to me that's like the greatest. So we'll get into that next week, and we're going to be looking through his tunes. One's called Roy's Blues, just a standard blues in A, I believe. His version of a smooth one, that's a really cool chord solo on that one. We'll be taking chunks of that out. And then his version of Tuxedo Junction. And all those can be found on his 2 instrumental albums. As well, if you want the full transcriptions, I do offer those on my online site. There's a Roy Lanham transcription pack. If you click the link to my site at mintmorris.com, that's in the info here, you will find that transcription pack and find the full PDF and tab and standard notation with all the correct fingerings and all the correct chords to those 3 songs that we'll be starting to look at various parts next week. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a lot of fun. So let's first go over the intro to this song. The original recording is in the key of E minor. I shifted this to the key of C minor. Another common key this one's played in. Plus, for those of you who have the real book, I believe this is what the real book key is. So if you're trying to make your own, this is a good reference point. So it starts off with something like this. Alright, so to break that down, we're playing these cool Kesselisms. He always does in a lot of his tunes, where if you have a minor chord, or even a major, it works in multiple contexts. You take, I'm thinking of visualizing a C minor chord here at the 8th fret, and you move this root up to the 9. So it's a D, and that's the sound you get. And you just walk it down chromatically. And what happens there is you get a minor major chord if you're playing it under a minor. So you've got C, and then we're dropping down to F. There's your F chord, right? So we go up to the G, and there's your F minor major. So C. That is the exact way he does it, transposing it to C from like his original. The way I did it in my video, I actually started on this A minor here and went, and then I went to F minor, just a relative sub. And then he comes up to this D7 chord, it's an altered chord. And what he's doing here is we're grabbing this normal D, right, that we all know well, dropping the sharp 9 from it, and we've got D, F sharp, C, E flat, A flat. So that's flat 9, flat 5, and I'm just barring with my first finger across that. And then, if you can do this, on some guitars I can, on this one I can, I reach my thumb around just to get that A note in there. It's kind of tough, but... And what he does there is he grabs flat 5, sharp 5. That's that sound. And that resolves down to a G. You could think of it as like a 2-5. D is 2, G is 5. And he plays a G7 flat 5. And if you can throw your bass note in there with your thumb, it's a definitely Kessel thing to do. And that's just the flat 7, the third, the flat 5, so that's D flat, and the G. And then we'd be into the song. So again, it's going to sound something like this. This nice little intro we've got. All right, this next section is the first A part of the song, so it's going to go like this. Starts over. So to break that down, we're playing first a C minor. It's a big chord here. We're using thumb on the C, then a third finger on the G there at the 10th fret. Then I'm flattening my first finger all the way across. So, and adding the 9, because that's the melody note. It goes. So you've got with the G in it. And then we shift up. I rearrange my fingers to a G sharp. That's that sharp 5. That's in the bass notes. So we've got, you could also do it like this. And I pluck second and third string. Those are the melody notes. And then instead of playing D, C here, I want to harmonize it with the C minor 6 chord, so I play it down here. And what I'm playing is C, E flat, A, and then my D. So that's the melody note at the top, then I take it off, and there's my C, the next melody note. So it's going. Right, so we've got. And then I do a little passing chord. I do a C7 flat 5 just to resolve us into this F here. So it's just taking a normal C7 chord, we all know, and dropping what would be the 5th, this would be the 5th, normal 5th, down to a flatted 5th. So it just goes down chromatically, which is nice. And then I get my F minor chord and use my thumb to reach the top so I can stretch out a little bit. So I've got, get the E flat, and this is a 2-5, so it's F minor to B flat, and I've got, so I'm just coming up and playing a normal B flat chord. I can add the 9 if I want to harmonize it, and I'm using my thumb to get that into E flat. So to put that in context, you've got resolving to an E flat major chord. And this is just a D minor, and you're bouncing between this 11, the G, so that's the 11 is the G and D minor, and that F sharp, the major third of it. And that resolves to a G minor 11. So your normal G minor is like this, G, D, F, B flat. We're just adding the C there. So it's, you reach up and get that D flat and come right back down. So you're thinking G minor, C7. And right there, we're just doing a C7, flat 9 with a 13. And then down to a normal C7. So we've got D minor, resolves to G minor 11, then to the C7. Now the next part is a C minor, 2 to 5, to an F7. I do a little passing chord in between here, and just something that he would do. I play a G7 flat 5 to get to my C. It's just a sub. It's just a 5 going into a chord. It's the 5 of C minor. So you got F, F9. Now this is really cool. We take the tritone of F, which is B. You know that sound. We move it up here and go. And it highlights the melody. So you take your normal B7 chord. We have A, D sharp, F sharp, B with our thumb, and then drop it. So that's the 5, flat 5, 3. Then move it down a half step, B flat 7, and you're now going E flat, C, preparing to get into our E flat 6 here, which I've always thought it's kind of like an A minor chord. You just move it up. So you've got E flat, C, G, E flat. A cool little thing about this is that tritone, it's just that B7 chord. The shape of it's acting pretty much as just like an F7, because we're going B7 to B flat 7. That's really F7 to B flat 7, 2 to 5, or the 5 of that chord. And then I do a little Kesselism here where I go. So if you take this chord, a D7 altered chord, it's a 2, 5, or a 5 of G, and this is a G augmented. Now, what I did though was I put this chord and then I played an A flat triad, then down to that G. The reason I can do that is if you take an altered chord like this, if you take the altered notes, you can build triads off of them. So if I take this altered F note, that's the sharp 9, I can build a triad off of it. So I can play B flat, D, and F. That F acts as the 5th of B flat. And it works with all those altered tones within that D7. So you can play B flat over D7. Likewise, you can take this F and instead of play an F as the sharp 9, play the flat 9. That's an E flat. So you can just build your triad off of that. And there's your A flat. So that's why that sound of D7 sharp 9 to that A flat triad to the G7 augmented sounds really nice back to the E flat. Now you might wonder, okay, how does this G get us to E flat? Good question. It's kind of weird. If you take, so E flat's our home key, right? If you take the 7th of the key, so in this case, that's the D, right? Because it's 1 fret below E flat, or 1 note below E flat. You can play a 2-5 off of it, and it will get you back to the E flat. It just works. It works with your ear harmonically. So play your D. You can make it altered if you want. Then play your G, 5. D is the 5 of G. Then right back to E flat. All right, so that's the first A section. I'm gonna go play through the second A section. Pretty much play the same thing. There's a few things here and there that are a little different, and I'll stop and point them out along the way. And then get us into the B section. I do a slightly different turnaround to get us into there. So this, it's gonna sound like. augmented, E flat, then I do a quick 5 the D minor, so I do an A7 flat 9. So that's E, B flat, C sharp, G, D minor, and then I come up here and play this chord. I think of it as a G minor chord still. It's B flat, F, A, and a C normally. So you've got some G minor tones in there as well as the 9 and the 11, right, over G. But what we're doing here is we go. So I'm altering it to fit the melody. So the melody is because it's the 2-5 G minor C7. So now we're going to do a 2-5 C minor to F7, but I'm going to precede it with the 5 of C. I just do a sub 4 to D flat, then chromatically down to C. Then F7, F9, so we've got G, and then C minor, or if you wanted to, sub this F7 for a B7, right? Or a B chord, the tritone, so you could go C minor, or that's our B7, and then instead of that you could play off the top part of the chord. So this B7, so that's just taking the D sharp, A, C sharp, it's like a B7, 9. And then here's a Kessel Lick. That would get us into the B section, which starts on a G minor. So what's happening there is after that E flat, we've got to get to a G minor. So I play a B minor 11 to an E7 flat 5, and I'm really just thinking, I'm not thinking of all these extensions. I've already practiced the extensions. That's something you got to do just as is. What I'm thinking of, 5 of 5, 5 of 5. It's just dominant cycling each other. So if you take your E flat, play the B flat minor, E flat 7, you're just making a 2-5, 2-5, and then I'm dropping it down and playing an A minor, D7, which falls into G minor. So you're just chromatically moving down a 2-5, and yes, there are subs going on. This B flat minor to E flat, that's normal. The E flat to A minor works because the E flat is the tritone sub for A minor. So and that works just fine. The way I do it though is I play a B flat minor 11. Then I drop it to an E flat 7 flat 5. That's our flat 5 in the bass, and I just do the same thing chromatically on the A. So you get this really cool effect. If we're going from moving into the E flat, we've got like, here it is. So what's going on here in this B section? Let me play it for you real quick. We just went. Excuse me. And then now it goes back into the next A. So what's happening, we're starting on a G minor 7. And we're just playing, harmonizing G, A, B flat. 1, 2, 3. And then the chord changes, G minor to E minor 7, flat 5. So that's like so. E, that's your 1. B flat's the flat 5. D's are 7. G's are 3. So, but the way I harmonize it is play it right here, where you've got G, B flat, E. Kind of like a C7 chord. And I just move F sharp to G, so. Then we move to an E flat, then D7. So I just play an E flat 7 with the sharp 9 and the flat 5. So that's the melody note. Then I move this up to the G, and then the next melody notes are B flat A, so B flat, D flat, so that's with the flat 9, the flat 9, so you got. So that whole first part of the B section is. And then you have a G minor. And really, it's a G minor just moving up the scale, right? So G, B flat, C, D, then you land on the C again, and the chord is an E minor 7 flat 5, but you can play a C7, it works. So I just play the top part of a C7 chord. We got B flat, E, G, and C, harmonizing that C note in the melody. And then you've got B flat to C, so. Then we're playing A flat to D. So I go A flat sharp 9, regular 9, D7 flat 9, D7 sharp 9. So you've got, and that gets us back to G minor. So the sound of it is. Do the same thing again. Then now this D is going to resolve to a major 7. So we play G major 7 with the added 9. If you can grab your thumb for more notes, go for it. So sliding up to the B, then back to G. It's kind of hard to get all those notes. And then a D minor 11. Harmonizing the same notes. And back to G7. So you've got G major, then D minor 11, then back to the A section. So the whole B section once more with all those chords. We've got then your major, then minor 11, then you're back to the A. F minor, B flat 7, so that is just a cool little 2-5 to 2-5. So you're going to the D minor, and what I'm setting up is just an E minor 7 flat 5 to an A7 flat 5 raised up. That's a move that he's done in a couple tunes I've learned, so I've stolen it and used it for myself. So you've got So think of maybe like your normal D minor chord, but just move it up to, what is that, 6, 8, and 7. Kind of like a G minor chord, and then put an E in the bass. So I'm playing bass, chord, move it down to the A7 flat 5, move it up to natural 5, and then D minor, D11. So it's like, then G minor 11, excuse me. Then B flat, and then I'm going to tag it with an F7, B7, that's the A flat, A minor 11, D minor 7 sharp 9, G augmented, E flat 6 with your flat 5 or sharp 11, however you want to say it. So without me talking that last part, tag it. And that is the entire song. So hopefully you got a few cool things from that. The real way that I've kind of learned from this, and kind of one of the big takeaways to spice some of these chord melodies up, is first off, we're using all of these pretty common chord shapes. There's nothing too far out. Everything's kind of got its root. It's got its third and it's got its seventh, and then we have kind of maybe some extended notes, some color tones. So that's one thing to take. Don't overcomplicate it. Use your simple shapes, but mess around with 1 or 2 notes with them, and you can get some cool stuff. The second thing is adding 2 5s to 2 5s is really cool if you do it quick and you're trying to add more in. So like for example, when we went from this E flat to this G minor, instead of just going E flat, D, G minor, we went this whole chromatic line of the 2 5, B flat to E flat, A, D to G. So that makes that a little more interesting than just going right. That's one thing. So experiment with that. We also did that here when we went so 2 5 to 2 5. We played the E minor 7, A7, D. So it's 2 5, E, A to D, then D resolves to G. So that's one. The other thing is using what we talked about with those altered chords. So if you've got like an altered D7, find your altered notes and see if you can build triads off of them. In this case, if you've got this shape, the first August one is build your triad, a B flat. Why that works? That's your sharp 9, the F, the D is your 1, the B flat is your flat 13. So that works just fine. Do the same thing, but a whole step down off your flat 9, the E flat, and you've got, sounds pretty cool. So you can do that sound with the A flat in it, or that sound with the B flat in it. And that's nice just if you're playing a 2 5 and want some more color into it, you could all those kinds of options. So explore that in your playing, how you can get those things in. And those are the kind of big things I would recommend. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned a bunch. If you have any questions, please shoot me a message, or you can reach out to me on my website. And I do private lessons all the time. Would love to help you in any way I can. The chord charts, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, or the chord diagrams rather, they're on my previous post promoting this. So go check that out on my Facebook wall. It's just in a little picture file, so you can save that to your computer or wherever. And then promo for my upcoming new series all about Roy Lanham. We'll start doing some stuff using a lot of his chord voicings and solos. So talking less about chord melodies, but now using chords and solos and how we can do that. I always liked it because it sounds a lot like pedal steel guitar, jazz, and Barney Kessel and Chet Atkins all mixed into one. So it's a lot of fun, and it's not too tricky. There are a few tricky things, but it's pretty user-friendly, so we can get going into that. We're going to be looking at 3 tunes, Roy's Blues, Tuxedo Junction, and a smooth one. Those can all be found on his instrumental records. And as a little plug, if you want to start studying ahead, or you've been wanting to learn those solos for years and just haven't had the time or whatever, I've got the transcriptions over on my website in a pack, $15. You get all 3 transcriptions, full solos, single notes, as well as all the double stops and chords, and all the chord changes, all in tab and standard notation. So go check that out. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll have something that you can get a lot of use out of. So I hope you enjoyed that. I do appreciate all the tips and the generosity y'all have been giving. And I'll see you next week. Thanks.